To Mrs. Reynolds' Cat. Keats starts off his rather unique poem To Mrs. Reynolds' Cat on a playful tone. Cat, who is past thy grand climacteric, a term that was once used to signify one's 63rd birthday, Keats points out that the cat is aged. Now one can look at the poem in a different and seemingly less sillier perspective and assume that Keats isn't talking about a cat but a person who is matured. Now, as the poem commences, it can be noted that Keats has pushed aside his solemn tone and opened up a new dimension to his character. How many mice and rats has since thy day destroyed? Keats questions the cat about its habitual methods, how many mice it chased, and even how many morsels of food it flipped. This can be seen as Keats questioning how many goals the person has achieved in that day. Keats also comments on the cat's bright but lacking in spirit eyes. Keats also asks but politely that the cat should not raise its claws, or raise its temper, and asks that it tells him instead of his quarrels with fish and mice. He also asks that it not look down and lick its dainty wrists, and for all its wheezy asthma, which may be a reference to coughing up balls. The poem comes to an end on a slightly deeper note in which Keats says, "Still is that fur as soft as when the lists in youth thou enteredst on glass-bottled walls," which can be seen as a reference to when women at the time broke glass bottles and left the shards on top of these walls to keep cats away. Keats soothes the cat by saying that although it has taken a beating or two from of many a maid, its fur is still as soft as when it matured from its youth into a prowling cat that maneuvered over these glass bottle walls. Personally, I'm not a cat person. Although the poem is a charming commentary to Mrs. Reynolds' cat, it didn't reach out to me like most of other Keats's work. But if one does look into the deeper meaning of the poem, Keats may be using it to reflect inner turmoil from some of his relationships at the time, especially in reference to the last few lines of the poem. It seems as though Keats may be assuring that the cat, or the person, or himself, has overcome a large obstacle and matured in the end.